So today is sauerkraut, which if you don't know, is basically lacto-fermented cabbage. That's exactly what it is. So,
I had intended on doing this early enough that if you were cooking along with us, you would have it ready for New Year's, because sauerkraut is a traditional New Year's feast celebration thing. It's supposed to bring good luck.
the ingredients that you're going to need in order to make this sauerkraut are vodka.
Dun, dun, dun.
I'm not kidding. Cabbage, salt, caraway seeds. You're also going to want a fairly large jar, probably a gallon. This might even be more than a gallon, not sure. I'm using one with an airlock. You don't have to. This doesn't let off a lot of gases. It's not going to explode or anything. But it's a good idea if you can. If not, burp it every couple days. Just loosen the lid a little bit and you're fine. I also have a, what is this called? Pickle packer. It's to use to pack stuff into jars easier. I use it to help mash up the cabbage. Also, a large metal bowl. That way you don't scratch up your plastic one. Let's just get to it. First thing you want to do is prepare your cabbage. I start by cutting it in half and removing the core. See this part here? Nobody really wants to eat that. So I just kind of cut into it, and then take it out. These outer leaves, probably not going to use that. So I'm going to save it though, because we might need it for cover on the top. Many people have many different ways of doing the shaving of the cabbage. Okay, you can make it larger pieces. That takes a lot longer to ferment. I like to make smaller, almost shaved pieces. So what I'm going to do is just cut this way across and then really carefully just shave as tight as I can get. Probably 1/16 of an inch, 1/8 of an inch pieces. We're not making coleslaw, so it doesn't have to be super small, but you want to do that. Now I can start going this way, because the way the shape goes, you definitely want to have that little bit of a start from the side. And then I'm just going to shave it straight down. A really sharp knife helps with this. I'm going to do the rest of this off camera, but you can see how fine that is. It's just shreds, okay? I like it that way. This is about a medium cut, believe it or not. People do really super fine shredded sauerkraut. That's what I'm making. I don't necessarily like it that small. It's kind of like what you get in the cans. It's like little strings. All right, so we're just at the end of cutting here. This is where it gets scary and people lose fingers. And this is why I do this. Okay. And then all of it into the bowl. Notice how one cabbage head turned into that much shred.
So Brian had weighed this cabbage before we got to chopping it, and this was a
3 pounds.
3 pound cabbage.
Now, the general rule of thumb that I go by for this kind of thing is 2 teaspoons of salt per pound of cabbage, okay? Now, what you're doing with the salt, it is a necessary step. Absolutely necessary step. What you're gonna do is break up the cell walls and leach out all the juices, and that salt is gonna help the lactobacillus bacteria that's already present in the food to help break it down and give it that nice tangy flavor that we all love in sauerkraut. Which, I wanna say something. Anybody out there that's gonna say, oh, I don't like sauerkraut. Well, guess what? I didn't either until a year ago. We got a can of sauerkraut just to try it again because
From surprise, Aldi.
yeah. Everybody kept saying, oh, you need to try it, you need to try it. Okay, so what I did is I put it in a pan, I put some sugar on it, and I cooked it, like I browned it. And it had this lovely sweet caramelized flavor.
Sauteed onions in there.
Oh, I put onions in it too. Maybe that's another video. But anyway, I did that and it came out so sweet. It wasn't what I remembered cauliflower. Sauerkraut tasting like. We just got cauliflower form in the garden. So I'm like really excited.
So he's got the
Not that I like cauliflower that much, just the fact that it worked. Because it's never worked before. Anyway, so as I said, my rule is 2 teaspoons of salt per pound of cabbage. So we have 3 pounds. That would be 6 teaspoons or 2 tablespoons. And you're just gonna sprinkle it around. It's gonna get all mixed through in a minute. May sound like a lot of salt, but it's really not that much. 2 tablespoons of salt for 3 pounds. This is where this guy comes in. Now, you do this. You can hear that sound, right? You can use your hands too. And I may start. It's just a little easier. Get in there and you squeeze. What you're really doing is breaking it all up and mixing it together. It's going to make it expel all of its juices, and that's what makes things work, okay? So you want to really, really do this. An easy way, if you don't want to do this for like 3 hours straight, is you do what I'm doing now. Break it up just a little bit, and as we know what salt does when it hits the surface, it makes it want to expel its juices, right? It breaks the cell walls up and makes it loosen. So what I do is I do a good mix on it, find all these big chunks. If you get too many of those, I take them out. That's just too much. That's not going to ferment and won't taste good. Once I have it mixed up real good, I'll just set it to the side, leave it for an hour, then I'll do some more, leave it for an hour, do it some more. You'll see a good amount of liquid build up in the bottom of this. So we'll see in a little bit. So this has been sitting for about an hour. I'm gonna get out my pickle packer and just gonna crunch it a little. Basically, it's like push in and squeeze. You can hear that noise. You almost can't overdo this, okay? You wanna just do it for a while, but let me show you something. If I can get all the way to the bottom here. See that liquid? Can you see it on camera? Yeah, okay. That's what you're looking for. And that's the brine, essentially, that this sauerkraut's gonna ferment in. And yes, this is a fermented product. I don't know if people realize that. It's along the lines of kimchi, which is similar, only spicy. What it is the lactobacillus bacteria ferments this, creates that tangy flavor, preserves it slightly, and actually makes it easier for our bodies to digest. This is one of the things that people who have GERD and leaky gut and all kinds of diseases, disorders, they're not really diseases, disorders can use to help. That's why we do it. I'm gonna do this for about probably 15 more minutes. You probably don't need to watch. So after a while doing that, basically what you got here is a bunch of mashed up cabbage. This looks about right to me. It's pretty well mashed. You just want to keep going until you feel you've broken up most of the cell walls and it's mash. And what I'm going to do is get a 1 gallon fermenter jar. Now I'm looking at this going, is this a gallon? I don't know. It's going to ferment though, so I'm not all that worried about it. I want to get this into here. So this is going to take me a few minutes. You may not want to watch.
Avert your eyes.
When in doubt, use the best tools you got. And you can tell by the feel of it as well. This has been pretty well beat up. The idea is you're breaking up those cell walls so that the lactobacillus can get to work on it a little bit easier. Okay, so once you have it all in, what you want to do is pack it down in here. Now, the packing is for a reason. You want as little oxygen to be able to get to this as possible.
Of course, now that we've got it all in here and we're looking at it, half gallon probably would have been a better option, but
we might get another head of cabbage in the next couple days and put it in here too. You really want to fill it as much as you can. Headroom is a thing. It's gonna produce some off gases, so it's not as much as, like, say, secondary in a brew, but this isn't really gonna make a whole lot. So what I'm going to actually do is something that I rarely do. I'm gonna put some water in here because I don't feel there's enough liquid. Yeah, it's not filled enough. We need more liquid in there. I don't normally add water to these, okay? I'm only doing this because it does seem like either we didn't work on the cabbage enough or it just wasn't all that juicy of a cabbage. You just want a little bit of water over the top so that it doesn't mold, because it does happen. What I'm gonna do though is take these leaves, I'm gonna jam them down in there and try to keep most of the stuff underwater. Some people will take like a Ziploc bag, fill it with water, and put it on top of this, which is actually not a bad idea. I may do that this time, just to keep everything under. Because there are gases coming off of this, but at the same time, anything exposed to air has a tendency, or a potential I should say, to mold. Take my lid, the grommet with an airlock, slip it on there. Empty airlock for the moment. And this is where the most important ingredient ever, the vodka, the cheapest you can find, by the way. You break out the good stuff for this, you're wasting vodka. That's alcohol abuse. It's illegal in this state. Vodka, and not get it all over my hand. That's full enough for me. I'll put that back on the bucket, please. And put this on here. Now, like I said, the airlock isn't absolutely necessary. It's just to help release a little bit of the extra gases. The next question is, how long? Ours have taken roughly a month. It's technically sauerkraut in about a week to 2 weeks. Most people tend to like it a little bit more after 2 weeks. Some people don't like it so tangy. We tend to like it kind of on the strong side, and it preserves better. So we go 4 weeks. So this is going to go under my desk along with all of our brews. See you in about a month to test it out. So, as was brought to my attention after we finished filming, I forgot one very important thing. It wasn't the vodka. It's the caraway seeds. Now, every recipe I've seen and the ones that we've liked have always had caraway seeds in them. I don't really know what they do exactly, but I like caraway seeds. They're what makes rye bread taste like rye bread. So I'm going to put some in, and I'm going to mix it through, and I'll show you how to make additions. I'm doing, what's that, a tablespoon and a half maybe?
Yeah.
I'm doing about that many. That much. And all I'm going to do is just mix this up, make sure that they get in there. And then I'll repack everything. Okay, so I'm just going to mix it through. I've seen other things put into sauerkraut. Some people have done like carrots and garlic and stuff. I was considering putting garlic in this, but last time we didn't, and Derica reminded me, don't change recipes when we've already done them. And this is a basic one. We're trying to just show you how to make sauerkraut. We might make a spicy sauerkraut. We might make a something else sauerkraut. I don't know, all kinds of stuff. That's another video. But opening this up also gave me an opportunity to do the water bag treatment so you can see how that works. And I'm just going to push everything down, get it all down the sides, so nothing's on the sides. That's the, I know, I'm going all the way around again. Then, you get this guy out, and pack it all down. Try to get it to back where it was, get that liquid above the surface. Take a Ziploc bag, fill it with water. I don't think it's gonna.
You filled it too.
I filled it too much! Put it right back. On top, and it holds everything down under the surface of the water. So we've still got our vodka filled airlock. Put this on there. And see you in a month. So it's been like a month. Maybe a little more than a month. When did we start this? The 2nd of January. Today is February 12th. So yeah, like 5-6 weeks. To me, sauerkraut's like that. 4 to 6 weeks or so. And we have our finished fermentation. I have removed the bag. There was a little bit of white scum. There almost always is. You remove that, you scoop it out, and don't worry about it. I'm gonna take the lid off. You do not want that white scum getting mixed in though. Just remove it. And I removed, maybe a tablespoon or 2 of product just to make sure that it was clean. And then if you look, there is the look inside. Now what we have to do is get this into jars, but we have to clean the jars first. Now we're going to let these bottles come to a boil. Leave them in there, I don't know, 5 minutes or so, maybe 10 minutes. What we're doing is sterilizing them with this method. Then we'll be back to show you what to do next. Okay, so our jars have been boiled.
So the jars have been processed. They are hot. That's why Brian is wearing the glove of doom.
I actually put this in hot water, so it's clean.
We have our wide mouth funnel. Well, actually, it's not a wide mouth funnel. It's wider than a
funnel.
normal funnel, but it's
a canning funnel.
A narrow mouth because these are narrow or regular mouth jars.
Yeah, what she said.
Yeah. But that helps keep any of the residue off the rim. You don't want to get any product on your rim because that's going to affect the sealing.
Yeah, this funnel is great for that because it has that little edge in there, keeps it all off there. Now, when you're putting this stuff in, you want to pack it in pretty good. You want to make sure there's not a lot of air pockets in there.
Yep. And we're going to pour some brine in each of these once we get them packed.
Okay, so it looks like we're not going to get 4. We're going to get 3. Just going to pour a little bit of this brine in here. What I'm doing is I'm watching it come up the side. When it hits the top, done. Next, done. Next. Actually, the first one, we can probably pack this one just a touch better. So we have lids and rings. All right, guys, thanks for watching. If you like this video, give us a like. If you really like what we're doing, give us a subscribe. That way you get to see all the stuff that we do. And
don't forget to hit that bell icon.
Oh, yeah, hit the bell. Thanks. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.